Steelers Nation, what's going on? Before we dive into today's exclusive story, let's start with something that defines this franchise. The Pittsburgh Steelers are constantly searching for ways to improve, refine, and evolve. In this city, good is never good enough. Every move, every hire, every contract is made with one purpose: to bring better results, more wins, and eventually another Lombardi trophy back to Pittsburgh. So if you love real Steelers coverage and you want to stay ahead of everything happening in this offseason, hit that like button right now because it helps this channel grow and reach more members of Steelers Nation. And make sure you're subscribed because what's coming next could reshape the future of this team. And just a quick reminder, Steelers fans, if you want official Steelers gear, whether it's a TJ Watt jersey, cold weather hoodies, hats, or the newest Sideline pieces, the link to the official Fanatics store is below. They update it daily with new releases, and grabbing your gear through that link also supports the channel. Now let's talk about a storyline that is quietly gaining steam and could end up defining the entire 2026 season. When the Steelers decided to hire Mike McCarthy as the successor to Mike Tomlin, the fan base didn't exactly celebrate. The reaction was mixed, emotional, and in many cases, downright negative. Fans wanted clarity. Fans wanted a long-term vision. Instead, they got a 62-year-old offensive coach who feels more like a bridge than a destination. But the more you look at the hire, the more one thing becomes clear. This move is about quarterbacks. McCarthy has built his career around elite signal callers: Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay, Dak Prescott in Dallas, and right now, Pittsburgh has no long-term answer under center. That's where this story gets interesting, because Aaron Rodgers returning for one more season in 2026 is now very much on the table. Rodgers and McCarthy know each other better than almost any coach-quarterback duo in modern NFL history. They spent over a decade together in Green Bay, won a Super Bowl, and built one of the most efficient passing attacks the league has ever seen. If Rodgers wants to play one final season, there is no easier situation for him than a system he already knows, a coach he trusts, a locker room that wants him back, a franchise willing to go all in for one last push. But here's the twist. If Rodgers does return, the Steelers' offensive staff could look very familiar to him. Mike McCarthy will likely call plays himself, but the Steelers still need to hire an offensive coordinator in title, and history tells us that McCarthy prefers to work with people he trusts. That's where Scott Tolzien enters the conversation. Tolzien was a backup quarterback to Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay from 2013 to 2015. He knows Rodgers, he knows McCarthy, and more importantly, he's been quietly climbing the coaching ladder. Right now, Tolzien is the quarterback's coach for the New Orleans Saints, and his work in 2025 turned heads around the league. Saints rookie quarterback Tyler Schuff struggled early in the 2025 season, like most young quarterbacks do, but as the year went on, his growth was undeniable. He settled in, improved his decision-making, and looked like a legitimate future starter. That development didn't happen by accident. Tolzien was credited internally for helping Schuff clean up mechanics, read defenses faster, and gain confidence. That's exactly the type of developmental skill the Steelers desperately need, especially if the long-term plan involves drafting a quarterback in the near future. As Brian Batko pointed out recently, Tolzien is very much a name to watch. He's young, he's respected, he knows the system, and he knows Rodgers. But here's the key part, Steelers Nation. No, they won't. Rodgers is 42 years old. His decision to play in 2026 is uncertain, and the Steelers are not going to build an entire offensive staff around a one-year rental. That's why Tolzien makes sense even if Rodgers doesn't return. He fits the big-picture vision of what McCarthy could be trying to build, a young offensive pipeline that develops quarterbacks instead of chasing veterans every year. If Rodgers does come back, it's a bonus. If he doesn't, the system still works, and that's something this franchise hasn't had in a long time. One thing is already clear: the Steelers' offense is about to change dramatically. McCarthy has always favored wide receivers over tight ends.
His offenses rarely feature 3 tight end sets, and that tells us a lot about what's coming next. According to Ray Fittipaldo of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, one name is almost certainly on the chopping block: Jonnu Smith. Smith was supposed to be a major weapon in 2025. He wasn't. Despite his relationship with Arthur Smith, his production was minimal, and his presence actually limited Pat Freiermuth's usage at times. Now, with McCarthy in charge, his role makes even less sense. Cutting him would save the Steelers $7 million in cap space, and that money could immediately be reinvested in the offense. Here's the part fans might have missed. On Friday, the Steelers signed J.J. Galbraith to a reserve futures contract. He impressed during training camp and fits McCarthy's preference for versatile, athletic tight ends who can block and leak into space. That move, combined with Fittipaldo's report, strongly suggests that Jonnu Smith's time in Pittsburgh is coming to an end. And honestly, the offense probably won't miss him. Freiermuth and Darnell Washington give Pittsburgh more than enough versatility, and now they can actually be used properly. This won't stop at tight end. Whenever a new head coach takes over, the roster changes fast, especially when the scheme shifts. McCarthy's offense will be more spread out, more creative, and more aggressive. That means different receivers, different blocking profiles, different personnel packages, different priorities in free agency. And the defense? That's its own conversation. The Steelers have spent too much money to be average on that side of the ball, and whoever becomes the new defensive coordinator will be under immediate pressure to fix it. Don't be surprised if several familiar defensive names are gone by the time training camp arrives. At first, the hire felt safe, conservative, uninspiring. But the more you look at the direction of the roster, the more you realize something important. The Steelers are finally thinking long-term on offense. They're building a system. They're building a coaching pipeline. They're building flexibility at quarterback. And yes, they're keeping the door open for Aaron Rodgers without making him the entire plan. That balance matters. When Mike Tomlin stepped away after 19 seasons, the Steelers found themselves in unfamiliar territory. For the first time since 2007, this organization had to conduct a real head coaching search. And when it ended quickly with the hiring of Mike McCarthy, the reaction was mixed, to say the least. Some fans saw experience, some saw stability, others saw a step backwards. And now, Steelers president Art Rooney II is finally opening up about why this decision was made and what the team truly believes it's getting in Mike McCarthy. Speaking with Bob Labriola on the team's official website, Rooney didn't hesitate when asked about the criticism surrounding the hire. Rooney made it clear that the decision to hire McCarthy wasn't emotional, rushed, or reactionary. It was strategic. He is someone who has a longer track record than many of the other candidates, a winning track record, Rooney said. He's been a winner everywhere he's been. Probably just as important for our purposes, the quarterbacks that he's worked with have all been very successful. That quote alone tells you everything you need to know about the Steelers' mindset right now. This hire is about winning, but more importantly, it's about quarterbacks. For the past 5 years, the Steelers have been searching for stability under center. Kenny Pickett didn't work out. Mitch Trubisky didn't work out. Justin Fields wasn't the answer. And while Aaron Rodgers helped stabilize the offense in 2025, no one truly believes he's a long-term solution at 42 years old. That's where McCarthy's resume becomes impossible to ignore. He maximized the end of Brett Favre's career, rebuilt Aaron Rodgers' mechanics, developed Rodgers into a 4-time MVP, won a Super Bowl, helped Dak Prescott become one of the league's most efficient quarterbacks. In other words, McCarthy has done exactly what the Steelers have failed to do since Ben Roethlisberger retired: develop and maintain elite quarterback play. And that, according to Rooney, was the biggest factor in the decision. This is where many Steelers fans start to feel uneasy. Yes, McCarthy won a Super Bowl in Green Bay. Yes, he had consistent success in the regular season. But in Dallas, he went 1-3 in the playoffs. And Steelers fans are tired of hearing next year after watching the team lose 7 straight playoff games under Tomlin. Rooney didn't shy away from that concern, but he also didn't let it define the hire. The Steelers believe that process matters and that sustained competitiveness eventually leads to postseason success, especially when you finally fix the quarterback problem. And they believe McCarthy gives them the best chance to do that. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. The moment McCarthy was hired, fans immediately connected the dots. McCarthy, Rodgers, reunion in Pittsburgh? NFL insider Albert Breer even pointed out that McCarthy deserves massive credit for extending Favre's career and rebuilding Rodgers from the ground up, so naturally the speculation exploded. But Art Rooney too shut that down quickly. Aaron was not a determining factor, Rooney said. We decided to bring Mike on because we believe he's the right coach to lead us to a championship. We don't know what Aaron's plans are right now, and that did not weigh heavily in the decision. That's important. The Steelers did not hire McCarthy just to convince Rodgers to return. Yes, the door is open. Yes, they'll sit down and talk. Yes, the connection helps. But this hire is bigger than one quarterback. According to reports from December, Rodgers has already suggested to people close to him that retirement is on the table. At 42, with a long career behind him and nothing left to prove, no one knows which direction he'll choose. Rooney confirmed that conversations will happen within the next month, but made one thing clear. McCarthy was hired to lead the franchise, not to recruit Rodgers. If Rodgers returns, great. If he doesn't, the Steelers move forward anyway. That's a shift in philosophy we haven't seen in Pittsburgh for a long time. One of the most telling lines from Art Rooney, too, was this: "I'm really not worried about winning the initial press conference." That statement is vintage Steelers. This organization doesn't chase headlines. It doesn't chase hype. It chases results. Rooney knows that the fan base will judge McCarthy the same way they judge every Steelers coach, by what happens in January. If McCarthy ends the playoff drought, the noise will disappear. If he doesn't, the criticism will only grow louder, and Rooney is clearly comfortable with that reality. Make no mistake about it, Steelers Nation, this hire signals a major shift in how the franchise is thinking. For decades, Pittsburgh prioritized defensive identity, stability, continuity, culture. Now, for the first time in a long time, the focus is clearly on offense, quarterback development, innovation, long-term planning. McCarthy may not be the coach of the next 15 years, but he could be the coach who finally sets the next one up. The 2026 season could be defined by one decision. Does Aaron Rodgers return for one final ride in black and gold? If he does, he could be paired with the coach who knows him best, and possibly with the quarterback who once backed him up, now helping to run the offense. If he doesn't, the Steelers move forward anyway. That's a shift in philosophy we haven't seen in Pittsburgh for a long time. So now I want to hear from you. Do you want Aaron Rodgers back for one more season? Would you like Scott Tolzien as offensive coordinator? And do you finally believe the Steelers have a real plan for the future? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one. And before you go, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications because this offseason is already wild and the biggest moves haven't even happened yet. Official Pittsburgh Steelers gear, new drops, and exclusive items, all in the link below. Check it out, Steelers Nation. Steelers Nation, the future is being built right now, and we're all watching it together.